Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa buddhang dhammang sanghang namassami. I pay my homage to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. I pay my homage to our teacher, Most Venerable Acharya Buddharakkhita Badabanti Ji. I pay my homage to Guru Bante Ji. I pay my homage here present all the Bhikkhu Bante Ji. And blessings and metta to all the juniors, monks and upasakas and upasikas. So today I have selected a topic on Noble Eightfold Path, and we will try to understand this Noble Eightfold Path with the wisdom. So this Noble Eightfold Path, as you have heard many times from different teachers, different Bhantes, but today we will try to understand each factor with right understanding. And when we see this Noble Eightfold Path, they all has support from right understanding. Although we cannot see them as they are supported by right understanding. So today we are going to learn about this, the right understanding which support the rest of the factors, 7 factors. So as you know, the first factor is called Samadhi, which is right understanding itself. Here this right understanding stands for noble truths. And when we have this right understanding about 4 noble truths, then all other factors can be practiced. So when we say right understanding about 4 noble truths, it is not the penetrative understanding. It is just knowledge about 4 noble truths. That is, there is dukkha, there is cause of dukkha, there is end of dukkha, and there is path leading to the towards end of dukkha. So this is just a knowledge, a understanding on this. It is not a penetrative knowledge, penetrative understanding. Similarly, when you go to the second factor, which is called right thought, samma sankappa, it has 3 factors: renunciation, loving kindness, and compassion. So these 3 also supported by wisdom. Take an example, as Lord Buddha said in Dhammapada, sabbe tasanti dandassa sabbe bhayanti machuno attanang upamam katva nahaneyana katai, which means all beings fear of punishment, all beings are afraid of death, and keeping oneself in their place, one should not harm and one should not kill, or neither he should be cause for killing. You can see this understanding. You are trying to know the suffering of other being, and you try to relate the feeling of those being with yourself. So this understanding is directly connected with us. It directly connected with our thoughts. It directly connected with our intention, which is called sankappa, right sankappa, samma sankappa. So samma sankappa has 2 different meanings. One is right thought, or you can say right intention. So this right intention arises only when we see other beings in the suffering. And we try to remove the causes of suffering, which is called Nikkamma Sankappa, the thought of renunciation. And similarly, you will refrain from killing, you will refrain from harming to them. When this thought arises in the mind, then only you can bring them into the practice. Then only you can practice sila. So this is how the right understanding stand with right thought. It support right thought. Then similarly, samavacha, which is right speech. And when we talk about right speech, it is fourfold: uh, not lying, not backbiting, not using harsh speech, and not gossiping. So this is also supported by right understanding in some other way. Take an example. I will tell a story to understand this. There were two good friends. Since their lay life, they were very good friends. They practiced together, they practiced generosity, they practiced sila, they practiced meditation together. After some time, both of them decided to become monk, and they renounced the worldly life. They become monk, and they took this solitude, viveka, and they engaged into the practice of meditation. And all the devotees from their village were aware that these monks are very good. They practice Dhamma, they practice meditation. So, out of faith, they support them. So, one day, one monk came, a guest monk. So, these two friends took that guest monk to the village for the Pindapata. And he got very good food from the devotees. Then his mind became defiled, diluted, and he started thinking that, oh, such a good food I get here. And now he decided that somehow I must stay here, and I have to remove all these two fellows, these two monks from this monastery. Then only I can be abbot of this monastery, and I can get the requisites from the lay devotees. This was the thinking of that guest monk. And now he started to create some strategies, some planning, how to remove these monks from this monastery. And then, after making the strategies and planning, he went to the elder monk, and he saw himself as very sad and disappointed. He reached in front of his kuti, the meditator's kuti, meditator's monk's kuti. After reaching there, the the senior monk noticed that, and he said, "What happened? You have arrived at wrong time. Is there any emergency?" He said, "No, no, no, nothing like that. What happened? You look like very sad, very disappointed. What happened?" Then he replied, "If I say you won't believe me," something like that he said. Then that monk said, "No, no, just try. You try to explain me what happened." Then he said, "Your friend said that you are a fake monk. You are not a meditator, but you pretend to be a meditator. You are not a virtuous monk, but you pretend to be a virtuous monk in front of devotees for the sake of gaining the requisites, for the sake of getting good dana, like that." But first time that friend was not convinced. He said, "No, no, no, it it is not like that. It is not like that. We were friends since our household life. He won't say like this. But second time he said, "Oh sir, Venerable sir, I'm not lying." Repeatedly he said this. And finally he convinced. And this is how uh, he make, you know, backbiting. He made this backbiting between two monks. And then again he went to the another monk, same thing he repeated, and then he divided them. He divided them. And all these two fellows, these two good friends, had no faith to each other. Now their friendship has broken, and they departed to different villages, different monasteries. Now finally, this monk he succeeded in his plan, and early in the morning he went for the alms round for Pindapata. He collected food. There the devotees were waiting for these two good monks, good friends, and they asked that guest monk, where are they? Where are those two monks? And then he said that, oh, these two monks, whole night they were fighting with each other, and they ran away from the monastery. So having said like this, he returned to the monastery, and as he aged, after few years, then the remorse arises in his mind, and he could not sleep in the night. He could not spend the day with peaceful mind, and he suffered a lot. And then after some time, he seek for forgiveness from these two monks when he known that these two monks have came again to nearby the village of his monastery. Then he seek for forgiveness from them, and they also forgave. So when he passed away, he reborn in hell. He suffered a lot there, and after that he became a hungry ghost, Preta. Then he born during the time of our Lord Buddha. So our most venerable Lakhana Bhante could see the Petas and some divine beings. And then he asks what happened. Then he narrate all the story. The Peta narrated whole story. Then Lakhana Bhante ji gave him the Dhamma advice. Ma mukhasa sukharavasi, you should not speak. You should not speak pig. You should not abuse to other from your mouth. And from this story, we can see the importance of lying. We should not lie. We should not backbite. And we should refrain from these three. We should refrain from these four. So when we understand like this, then there is understanding about kamma and kamma vipaka. So if I speak like this, then I will create such and such kamma that will bring suffering in future. So this is considered as right understanding, which support to the right speech. So this understanding is about kamma and kamma vipaka. When we reflect it again and again, then we can see dukkha. We can experience dukkha here in this very life, and as well as we can also understand the results of wrong speech in future lives. So this right speech is supported by right understanding of kamma and kamma vipaka. In some cases, like when you are living in the society, at that time you can also experience the result of wrong speech. Like in the society, people will not believe you. They will not have good relationship with you, and they will not invite you in some parties. They will not provide you some responsibilities. So such dukkha can also be understood here and now in this very life. So understanding like this can be developed on karma and karma vipaka. So this right understanding is supported by uh, this right speech is supported by right understanding of karma and karma vipaka. Then we have this fourth factor, which is samakamantu, which means right action. What is this right action? The right action restrain from killing, restrain from stealing, restrain from sexual misconduct. So these actions also has a negative result that can be seen here and now in this very life also. In the same way, like the people will not appreciate such actions, they will criticize you, they will not invite you in some functions, and they will not have some good relationship with you if you are performing such actions like killing and stealing and sexual misconduct. So this can be seen here and now, as well as you can contemplate them for the future as the contemplation of right understanding on karma and karma rebirth, or karma vipaka, supported by some stories in the Tipitaka. Similarly, we can go to the another factor, which is fifth factor, which is sama ajiva, right livelihood. So the right livelihood for the for the for the lay devotees is you should not sell anything which causes for harming, killing. Such business you should not do. If you do, then the same result will come, the negative result. In this way, this factor are also supported by Kama Sataka Samadhi or Kama Vipaka Samadhi. Then Sama Vayama, this can be taken similarly, as Lord Buddha said, if the Sama Vayama, which is right effort. So what is the right effort? As Lord Buddha said, if any unwholesome thought has not yet arisen in the mind, you should be vigorous, you should have that effort, you should arise very strong effort, you should not arise that, you should not make it arise in your heart, that unwholesome thought which is not yet taken place in our heart. The second, any unwholesome thought has already arisen, we should try to remove that thought, we should have that effort. And then second one, the third one, if any wholesome thought has not yet arisen, then we should work on that, we should make effort to arise that thought in our mind, the wholesome thought, and we should work the thought, the wholesome thought which is already in our heart, we should develop it more and more and more. So here also there is understanding. Without knowing, we cannot develop, we cannot remove the unwholesome thought, and we cannot develop the wholesome thought. There is also knowing there, and that knowing should consider as right understanding. We know this is wholesome, this is unwholesome. It is based on two knowledges. First can be understood as just knowledge, and second can be understood as penetrative knowledge. When you know your mind, at that time what types of thoughts arises. If it is unwholesome thought, then you should work to remove that. If it is wholesome thought, we should strengthen it more and more. So these thoughts, wholesome and unwholesome thought, also supported by right understanding. And when we have known that this is something wrong and right, then we can make effort with the understanding. So the right effort is again here with samadhi, right understanding. Now we have come at Samasati, which is fourfold of mindfulness, the right mindfulness, which Lord Buddha taught in Mahasatipatthana Sutta. The mindfulness on body, the mindfulness on feeling, the mindfulness on mind, the mindfulness on itself, the mindfulness on mental objects. So there we can also find the right understanding. What is that right understanding? In the whole sutta, Lord Buddha said, Samudaya Vayadhamma, Samudaya Vayadhamma, arising and passing away. And when you see this, is considered as dasana. When we say dasana, it is again considered as yathabhuta jnana dasana, and which stand for the right understanding here. So in this way, the right understanding is again come with the factor of with the seventh factor of noble eightfold path, which is right mindfulness. Then there is the last one, Samma Samadhi. This Samma Samadhi again stand with right view, as Lord Buddha gave his simile in different suttas. So let me tell one sutta called Samadhi Sutta. In that sutta, Lord Buddha said, Samadhing bhikkhave bhaveta samahito bhikkhave bhikkhu yatha bhutang pajanati, which means bhikkhu develop samadhi, and those who develop samadhi, for him he can see things as they are very clearly. So it tells that the samadhi has this right understanding of knowing things very clearly, which is yathabhuta, and yathabhuta stand for right view, right understanding. And what is this yathabhuta? How we should see things as they are. What things should be seen as they are. There are these 5 aggregates, Panchupadana Khanda, that should be understood very clearly. The 5 aggregates which are subject of clinging. And when you see all these 5 aggregates as they arises, as they passes away, that is considered as yathabhuta jnana darsana. That is what considered as darsana. And there are many types of darsana. When you read this sutta called Kinsukapama Sutta, you find many types of darsana. So here, when one develops the samadhi, then again there are different types of samadhis as mentioned by the Lord Buddha. The jhana samadhi is as considered as samma samadhi, which is said by the Lord Buddha himself, because it purifies the mind. That is why it is called samma samadhi. It suppresses the 5 hindrances. That is why it is called samma samadhi. When the 5 hindrances are suppressed, then one can see very clearly things as they are. The 4 great elements can be seen as they are, as they arises, as they passes away. The 5 aggregates which are subject of clinging, they can be seen as they arises and as they passes away, as they arise and as they pass away. In this way, one can see very clearly. In fact, one can see how contact arises and how contact passes away. So it can be happen only when one develop this higher samadhi called jhana samadhi, because the jhana samadhi is capable to reduce or to suppress these 5 hindrances. Then only the darsana, the vision, the knowing of things as they are can be developed. And it can be developed simultaneously in some cases. And that method only given by the Lord Buddha himself. Lord Buddha said in one of the sutta, when you develop these higher samadhis called jhanas, it is like an archer who's releasing the arrow from his archer, and that arrow reaches up to the long distance. In the similar way, when you develop the deeper samadhi, higher samadhi, you can penetrate the nama rupa very clearly. The nama rupa of the past, the nama rupa of the present, the nama rupa of the future. So when you see the nama rupa present, past and future, it is nothing but yathabhuta jnana darsana. It is nothing but knowing very clearly. It is nothing but seeing things as they are. So this is how the understanding, right understanding is also with the samadhi, with the meditation. Then we should not underestimate the vipassana samadhi here, as these days there is big statement or people discussing about that those who are teaching vipassana, this is only satangika magga, not atangika magga. It is not like that. Lord Buddha have mentioned in Sutima Paribhajaka Sutta, Lord Buddha haven't taught there any kind of higher samadhi, but he taught about vipassana samadhi. Not only in that sutta, but you can see some other sutta like Pamada Vihari Sutta, where Lord Buddha said, when you work, you just work mindfully with remaining in heedfulness. In this way, you can gain yathabhuta jnana darsana. When you gain yathabhuta jnana darsana, then you can see things very clearly. And when you see things very clearly, then only you can realize the Dhamma, the Nibbana. And there are different stages as well when we talk about yathabhuta jnana darsana or vipassana. So these are the two paths. This is the statement given by the Lord Buddha. One can pursue the path of Nibbana through vipassana, and one can also pursue the path of Nibbana through samatha. And of course, the samatha people has to go with the vipassana again. But when you develop vipassana, then you will be capable to reduce or to suppress these 5 hindrances with the strong concentration of vipassana. When you constantly seeing arising and passing away in all the posture, and with eye, with nose, with ear, with tongue, with body, and with mind and its object, you see all these phenomena arising and passing away constantly, continuously, then the concentration will be strengthened, will be powerful, and that concentration is able to suppress these 5 hindrances again, and that will lead towards some higher vipassana levels. As we have known the different types of vipassana, they are mentioned in the text. Some of the experiences can be similar as it is mentioned in the text, like Nama Rupa and some other. But the tendencies which one has, it can lead you some deeper level of vipassana, or you can say higher level of vipassana, or you can relate your experience with the text as mentioned, and you can also relate some deeper experiences which is not mentioned in the text as well. But the core thing, the fundamental things can be very similar. That is why we should not underestimate this power of vipassana meditation, or we should not underestimate the samatha as well. Whatever one can develop that. If you are good in developing samatha, develop that. If you are good in developing vipassana, you develop it. There is no problem. At the end, the both leads on same path, that is the path of renunciation of defilements. That's all. Then the samatha jhana in one hand, it is very powerful samadhi. In other hand, the vipassana meditation can be also very powerful. It is said that in the some commentaries, it is mentioned that when you repeatedly meditate on phenomena, then mind becomes very, very purified. At that moment, the mind becomes very still, and you won't find any klesa that arises in your mind. So such mind, like this, our mind become very, very strong through vipassana meditation as well. So all the factors of Noble Eightfold Path is supported by right understanding. The right understanding of Kamma and Kamma Vipaka, the right understanding of Nama Rupa Paricheda Jnana, or the right understanding of Nama Rupa Paricheda Jnana or Pachaya Parigraha Jnana. All these get matured in the last stage, which we call Samadhi. At the last stage, at the eighth factor of Samadhi, all the factors get matured, well developed. When they develop fully in its totality, then they give fruits, the fruits of Nibbana. Some people these days, we can hear that people say that after meditating for a long time, for a year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, and they reached a certain level where they don't find any impurity of the mind that taking place in their mind. So themselves, they started claiming themselves as Sotapanna Sakada Kamiyana Kamiyarahant. When you are meditating, you should be very aware, you should be very alert that this can also be the state of samadhis. At the level of samadhis, at the level of meditation, the klesas also not arise. In the case of vipassana also, there will be no klesa for some time. For 1 week, you can't experience them. For 2 weeks, you can't experience them. Or you are continuing meditating for 1 month, you will not experience them. For 2 months, you cannot experience them. So you should be very alert when you are talking about when you are claiming yourself as a Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, you should be very aware about these different stages of Samadhi. Never underestimate the power of Samadhi or Vipassana or Samatha. They are something very extraordinary Samadhi, because we have not yet experienced all those things. And when we experience the absence of kilesa, the absence of impurities, then we started claiming ourselves Sotapanna. That is something wrong. You should go analyze everything. You go with your teacher, approach to your teacher, and you share your experience. Then they will instruct you, is it really attainments or not? So when you are meditating, you should be very aware, very alert on such experiences. And that can be samupakilesas as well, which we say impurities of the vipassana. So having said this and emphasizing on right view, which is support for all other factors, remaining factors, and I try to explain how the right view supported for all the 7 factors. And you can also see the personally how the right understanding support for right thought, how right understanding support for right speech, how right understanding support for uh, right right action, how samadhi support right livelihood, how samadhi support for right effort, how samadhi support for right mindfulness, how samadhi support for right samadhi. So this is what I wanted to share, few words of the Dhamma, and I conclude here with this short Dhamma talk, and I share this merit with my beloved teacher, Most Venerable Acharya Buddha Rakita Bhadavanteji, and I share this merit with all my departed relatives who are seeking for this merit, and I share this merit with all my teachers, and by the power of this merit, may all of you be happy, be peaceful. With this I conclude here. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So we give Anumodana, the hearty rejoice with these words of advice, the Dhamma, which when the Bhikkhu Jinavangsa has given today's Dhammadesana. It is like the right view is how important is this right view, and this right view is right there from the beginning. When we say Samadhi, that is the very first in the Eightfold Path. And the Samadhi is everywhere, whether it is a path of Sila, or we practice Samadhi, or we practice Panya. So throughout this Eightfold Path, Samadhi plays a very, very crucial role. Till we attain Aransev, Samadhi is required. Through meditation, samatha, or Buddha says, Samadhi Cheto Vimuttiya. Samadhi is purification of mind, Cheta Vishuddhi. But when we are doing purification, we need Panya. So, Samadhi, Sila supporting Samadhi and Samadhi supporting Panya, that is how this Eightfold Path, they work. And once this Eightfold Path is matured, then yes, you can see the Dhamma in your life. You can see and realize it. And Dhamma, this manifold itself. Then you catapult into, from the dimension of Lokiya into a supermundane dimensions. That is how he was emphasizing on the three factors of silas, or samadhi, or panya, where samadhi is very, very important. So we hope you understood this Dhamma teachings. So please reflect upon these further